And if we go now to skincare, we'll look at cleansers first, and then Tim will go through cleansers and we'll find out. So with cleansers, we're seeing a decline. We're seeing next year there will be a decline about 30–35% in consumer interest. It makes a lot of sense because consumers are going to spend less time at home. They're going to spend less time on their self-care routines and more time being busy. And so what we started with is inside cleansers, where are those sort of different areas where there could be opportunities? And this was something that we tested. We saw that there's potential crossover between cleansers with sun care products, with creams and with serums. And what we saw also was that in a lot of different areas of cleansing, there's decline. And it really goes hand in hand with, cleansers overall are declining next year. They will be used much less. People have less time. They'll use masks, scrubs much less often, and so on. Ingredients is really fascinating to look at in skincare products because there's so many different ingredients, and trends for ingredients can last anywhere from 2 to 3 months to 5 to 10 years. And so for us, this is always our favorite part to look at in skincare products. Shea butter continues its upward trajectory. So it had a great 2020, even better 2021. And looking into 2022, it'll just continue to be on that upward trend. Essential oils is one of those ones everyone knows about. It continues to grow, even though there's a lot of competition around essential oils. Tea tree oil as well. I thought witch hazel was very fascinating. That witch hazel came up as one of the top 10 highest opportunities for ingredients in cleansers. For losers, we see, basic ingredients like coconut oil are on the downward trend. And a lot of the losers end up being, like retinol, very, very popular. But again, we're looking at year-on-year differences. And so retinol might be very trendy this year. And so when we see minus 14% decline, that's talking about next year, it'll be 14% less trendy than this year.
I want to just amplify that a little bit. There's some really good conversations going on in the chat questions box. So what we're talking about is where are they focusing now in the data that we've looked at, which is mostly from August and July. And we're trying to find the leading edge of change. So when we're talking about shifting, we're not suggesting that the anti-aging product category itself is going to go into some massive decline. We're saying consumers' focus has shifted away from that. Your anti-aging products with retinol may be doing fine, but where are the eyeballs headed right now? It is to that stuff that appeals to the younger audience. Same with serums. So some people were saying, hey, in trend reports, serums are really popular. I'm sure they are in trend reports because serums were super popular last year and have been, and they've been on an upswing. But the latest data we're talking about from a pretty large group of consumers, they're not talking about serums as much. They're definitely talking about other stuff. So keep that in mind when we're talking about data. We're not talking about like the market share changes. We're talking about they may translate into market share changes, but we're really talking about what consumers are talking about, where those conversations are shifting right now.
Cool.
Okay.
Sensory attributes, there were 34 that we analyzed, and we found, across those 34, there was not a lot growth. Full coverage was growing, non-greasy was growing, and mostly the rest were declining, with the steepest decline being fragrance-free, which was, this has been a big trend in 2021, and it's predicted to decline in 2022. In terms of need states, we saw, again, moisturizing, sort of looking for that intensive moisturizing benefit as a need state. Sun protection, especially as people start to leave home more often, is predicted to grow quite substantially, as well as sort of solutions to dark spots, dealing with eczema and so on, and convenience. For the losers, we see that products, cleansers after makeup, daily use, younger skin, and so on are declining. Daily use makes a lot of sense because people are going to have less time to spend on cleansing. For normal skin is an interesting one that's declining. I believe one reason that could be is because if people are more busy, they have less time to spend on cleansers. And if you have normal skin, you are less likely to then take that time out of your day to use a cleanser. For fragrances, in cleansers, fragrances is a interesting one. It's less influential on purchasing decisions, but we did find some interesting data. For example, rainwater is a high opportunity fragrance. It's growing really quickly. It's got a pretty large share of voice. As well as some fruity fragrances, which in other categories, they're not trendy, but in cleansers, they are. In terms of declining fragrances, the ones that, again, have been very large in 2021 are starting to lose focus, whether it's unscented or it's the fresh scents and so on. We're seeing those on the downward trajectory, and going into 2022, that will continue. And then there is sun care. And Tim, I'll let you take sun care all the way to the end.